Meeting to order the Planning Commission for this date and start as we usually do with a pledge of allegiance. Okay, our task today will be to move through this rather quickly because town council has a meeting in here in an hour and they need to set up for a workshop session. So let's just move ahead. The adoption of the agenda. You've all had a chance to see the agenda for today. May I have a motion to approve? Commissioner Hens moves. Commissioner Mueller seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. And we also have minutes from the May 15th, 2024 meeting to approve. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Commissioner Campbell moves. Commissioner Lobaugh seconds. All in favor? Same. Thank you. Okay. This would be a time that we will hear from citizens who would like to address us on items that don't appear on today's agenda. Is there anybody here who would like to talk with us on an item that doesn't appear on today's agenda? Seeing none. Karen, for the record, did we have any portal comments?
No, sir, we did not.
Okay, thank you. No unfinished business, so we will move to new business, which will include consideration of a street naming known as STDV 000525-2024. And Johaida Pfister is going to be giving the report on that for us today. Welcome, Johaida.
Hello. So Johaida Pfister, Deputy Fire Chief. I am actually going to let Kathleen, our 911 Communications Manager, do this one so that I have some backup.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Hi there, I'm Kathleen Litchfield, 911 Communications Manager for Hilton Head Island Fire and Rescue. Thank you very much, and excuse my first-time presenter jitters. We're here because Valeria Place of 13 Marshland Road would like to name a driveway located off of Marshland Road. It will provide access to 2 homes that are proposed for that particular parcel. And unfortunately, right now, there are no additional addresses on Marshland Road that we can assign to that location. The staff recommends that you all approve the application based on the criteria outlined in the Land Management Ordinance and that was submitted in the material for the Planning Commission meeting. So we chose American Lady as the new street name. It meets the criteria of the Land Management Ordinance, and it is also one of the most common species of butterfly to this particular area. Here's a view of the property that we're talking about. And as you can see here from the numbering of the street of Marshland Road, we go from 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. There's no additional room to cram in any other Marshland Road addresses in this area. And you can see on the left-hand side of the screen here that the road that circles around this will be the named road coming off of Marshland. Okay, so American Lady Way is described in the staff report. The street names that were submitted had been vetted and meet the criteria set out in the Land Management Ordinance. Does anyone have any questions about American Lady Way?
Any commissioner questions? Okay, then we need to open, oh, yes, sir, Commissioner Hens.
Yeah, so interesting. So if you had more addresses along Marshland, it would just be another number, but you ran out of addresses.
Which would require the entire readdressing of Marshland Road, which you can imagine how problematic that would be.
So it's just a driveway that gets
With 2
to be
homes.
called a new street just because of that reason. And 2 homes, you say, on it?
2 homes will be accessed from the road, yes.
Is one of the 2 homes a new home, and that's what prompted the renaming, or did they volunteer and say, hey, I would like to name my driveway?
I'll bring in Johaida for that.
So they are actually demolishing a house that is currently there and they're adding 2 new homes, but there's only 1 address that's available on that parcel. And we don't do A's and B's, it's too confusing. And so the choices are that we readdress all of Marshland Road with all new addressing, which would be not received well, or else, like, we have named driveways in the past as well, because the same thing happens where you have a long parcel and there might be multiple homes on it, and we name that access or the driveway that goes back to the additional home. So it's not something that we haven't done before. It's just like, in this case, it is a smaller road that is getting named.
Now, what's the likelihood of having to do a whole lot of new roads on Marshland because we're out of addresses?
Pretty good. If in that previous, on this one, like, if you see where that 110 is, that was a road that we named for that parcel because, again, there were no other addresses, and so that is native common. And that one also too, like, depending on what their density is, they might have had some additional homes that could go back behind it as well.
Now, will you change the map to add a street? So right now, a map will just show nothing, or a driveway.
no,
Will
so
you
it would
add,
go-
will it look like a street on the map now?
Yeah, sort of, oh, crap. Up where it says driveway,
Uh-huh.
like, that will go in here, and the name of it will be on that.
And it'll turn white?
Yes. And like, when you zoom into this map, you can see that that's native common. It's just that in order to show the amount of homes that are along Marshland Road and what the numbering look like, it's zoomed out, but once you zoom in, you can see like all of the road names on there.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, this requires a public hearing, so I'd like to declare the public hearing open and ask if there are any citizens here today that would like to speak with us about the naming of this particular street. Anyone like to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and go back to the commission for questions or comments. Anybody willing to make a motion?
Move to approve the name.
Commissioner
change-
Hens moves to
name addition.
approve. Commissioner Lobaugh seconds. Any discussion? All in favor of that, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This would be a time each year at this meeting in June when we are called upon to elect officers for the commission for the following fiscal year, which begins July 1st. When the rules of procedure changed on this, the nominating committee kind of went away, and so we're going to be functioning as a group that's just accepting nominations from the floor. So I would ask if anyone would have a nomination for the role of chairperson starting for next year. Anybody have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Bruce C. Bowles.
Okay, we have one nomination. Are there other? Okay, thank you. Are there other nominations? I'm told by Robert's rules that I don't have to close the nominations, so are we ready to vote? All in favor of the motion to, okay, thank you. Now the office for vice chair is available. Anyone have a nomination for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Mark O'Neill.
Okay, Mark O'Neill. Second. Discussion, other nominations? All those in favor of electing Vice Chair O'Neill for another term, please raise your hand. Thank you. Great. I should have said this probably before, but Town Council met earlier this week, went into executive session, and when they came out, they announced appointments to commissions and committees for the town. A gentleman named Ed Cordes will be joining us in July as a new member, and 3 reappointed people of Commissioner Whaley, Commissioner Hens, and Commissioner Lobaugh, and myself will be returning for a second term starting July 1. So thank you all for agreeing to serve in another term, and look forward to working with you on that. At this point, I would like to ask Commissioner D'Arienzo to join me at the podium in front here, please. So this will be Commissioner D'Arienzo's final meeting. He's finished up his 3-year term with distinction. He's been a very valuable member of the commission for the last 3 years, and we're going to miss him, but we do want to offer this small token of our appreciation from the town of Hilton Head Island and thanking him for his service to the community. Thank you, Rick.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I believe our final order of business will be to hear a staff report on the development plan review. And is Brian going to give that report to us today? Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Yes.
What's the objective as we listen to the staff report? Context.
This is for general information. The staff is trying to bring new development projects more to our attention, just out of awareness, just a general awareness.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
My name is Trey Lau, Senior Planner, for the record. And I am here to present today, let's see, it's DPR 000045 2024. As you know, we are now, as you mentioned, we are trying to be more public facing when it comes to our major DPR reviews, so they have a chance to at least know what is going on in their town. We have one that's ready for Planning Commission review today, and that is for what most of you know as South Beach Marina. The wreck of the Salty Dog, this doesn't have anything to do with the Salty Dog location itself, just the wreck of the Salty Dog and kind of the New England style buildings that surround it. Is everyone familiar with that? Do you want me to pull that up on an overhead or anything like that? All right, so what they are proposing to do is take the, it's about 12,500 square feet plus or minus right now, and they're going to reduce that down to about 10,000 square feet plus or minus. That's going to be restaurant and retail space and some office space as well. Right now, what is there is retail, restaurant, office, and then there is some short-term rental cottages above there. Those will be taken out of the mix. So this is just going to be for commercial use only from this point forward. Let me scroll down and look at some of the plans here. So these are the existing conditions, as it were, today. And then these are the existing conditions compared to what they are proposing. What they're proposing is they're going to demolish what is the wreck of the Salty Dog now, as well as the surrounding, like I said, New England style buildings, and they will be building back a restaurant and bar area that will infill this area, and then some retail space behind it where it is currently now as well. Let's see what we got. Again, just some overhead views of what they are planning to do. And then here's our current conditions, as it were right now. And this is the vision once it's redeveloped. So it's a long time coming. It's going to be a really neat, more island appropriate, in my opinion, towards that, in that area over there. So are there any questions or anything you'd like to, from the board?
We've all had a chance to see this in advance, but are there questions as we now have someone who can help us understand this better?
Yeah, so is that back building, does it have a second story on it?
I don't think this does not call for 2 stories. These are all 1-story structures.
The building on the left, and you see on the far left, it's only 1 story, that's all retail.
I do see a rooftop up here.
And one of the,
It's a rooftop bar there?
Correct.
it's
Okay.
just an open porch for the restaurant downstairs,
Gotcha.
more seating area.
Will this need to be approved by town council?
This will not. So this is in final stages of the major DPR review. Once planning commission's done, I think they have one more step to go in final DRB. So they will go through DRB, final DRB, and once that's done, it'll be ready to be approved, pretty much. And then at that point, they'll go into the building permit phase.
It didn't appear that there was a change to the waterfront, but is there any change to the waterfront and the boardwalk there?
There will be some change there. So I'm trying to see if there's any good photos of it up there now. So right now, as you come down the waterfront, there's some retail here, and there's some retail as you go in here. And what that's gonna be now is that all you see in this black here is gonna be like basically porch, like a sitting area, viewing area, also some seats for the restaurant, stuff like that. So it will be a pretty significant change to what's there now. You're not so tight up against the water as you meander around the path there. You're gonna have a more wide open view of the restaurant area back there.
Commissioner Whaley?
Yes, so looking at this is one of the questions I had from the narrative part. You said the impervious area remains roughly the same. I'm trying to remember what the paragraph said. Remains roughly the same, except for what is allowed by right. So when you do walk around the current configuration, where it's tight around that retail space, it
ma'am.
always appeared to me to be a boardwalk on piers. So what is this new black space? Is this on piers too, or are you putting in fill and making it impervious? I'm not really sure what's happening along with that old board. I always thought it was a boardwalk. I thought it was up on piers, but I never studied it.
Right, so from what I have reviewed, there will be no change to the actual boardwalk structure or anything like that.
Oh.
Everything's gonna be internal to that, so it should be
Oh, okay.
on slab, but it will be landward of what's, or out here in the actual Braddock Cove
Okay. The number of parking spaces,
will remain.
because some of it's gravel, right, and some of it's blacktop? or-
There is some gravel parking
that
back in this
remaining the
area over
same?
here, but the main service for this particular development is behind it, and it is paved.
Right, but the little square there, isn't that the gravel
Yes,
lot?
ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
mhm.
ma'am. There is gravel parking back
And
there.
that's staying gravel?
As far as what I've reviewed, yes, ma'am.
Because if it changed, that would be a change
the
to impervious.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I'm assuming it's not going to change, you guys are going to stay on top of that.
Not from what's been submitted to me, I have not seen a change in that
Okay, because
gravel
I would
parking.
think with a lot of this construction equipment going over it, they're going to have to regrade and refill it anyway, so I just want to make sure that it's going to stay.
I'm not sure the
impervious.
construction equipment will make it back that far. I'm
Really?
not sure
Okay.
what
You guys going to
the,
stay down here more at the?
yes, ma'am. I'm
east.
assuming they'll probably close off this area up here and kind of work in this way, would be what I would assume.
Okay, so during construction, I'm just thinking of the traffic, because it's kind of a dead end down there into the
Right.
villas and everything. So there is going to be a period of time where that kind of like northwest parking quadrant is really construction space, and there won't be as much parking down there?
Correct. There will be a significant reduction in parking, and I believe from speaking with the contractor that the plan is to do this off-season, obviously, to eliminate, that loss in revenue that they'll, that's a pretty significant loss in revenue right there, tearing all those buildings down. So the plan is to do it off-season and pretty much, I think it's a phased approach. I'm assuming that they'd probably start the restaurant first and then work that way.
Work their way over that quadrant. And what's the duration of construction expected to be, since you're that far along the plan with them? Thank you.
I don't have that on hand. This is a pretty significant project, so I would say at least 12 months.
So there will be
There will be
season-
some
there'll-
overlap,
season
but
impact.
the restaurants would probably be phase one, because
'Cause
that's
I-
going to be their most significant income
Because the
producer.
Salty Dog Cruise guy,
Right.
he depends on that parking to fill his boat up too, so.
Correct.
So
Correct.
he's all okay with this, the timing and everything, or?
That would be through their internal POA, Pines. They would have to work
Okay.
it out amongst themselves when it comes to that. We're bound by what we can review by the LMO and require, so. Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? We have our presenter here. Okay, guess not. Thank you, Trey.
All right, thank you very much. And congratulations. Thank you for your service.
We're at the end of our published agenda. Anybody want to offer anything else? Or otherwise, seeing none, we stand adjourned. Thank you.